and doing everything they can, including talking to neighbors. I talked to some neighbors who live nearby here too, John, a few hours ago. They told me something that was pretty interesting. We've been talking about that back sliding door so much, but the front door, I'm told by a neighbor who walked by that morning who was coming back to his apartment, was wide open around 8:39 a.m. He told me that he gave that information to investigators, but we hadn't heard too much about that front door. And around 8:30 and 9 a.m. would have been a pretty good amount of time before police ever got the call that those students were dead inside. John.
Welcome back to my channel. This is my third video of the day, I believe. My name is Swamp Rose, and today I'm continuing my podcast where I cover the Idaho4 case, or the case against Bryan Kohberger. And today in our podcast, if I had to summarize this into a few words, I would say speculations about the crime scene. More specifically, we're going to talk about the first and the second floor. I have some before and after photographs to show you. I have a small clip from a newspaper out of the Idaho Statesman, but what I'm really going to begin with is a very, very interesting comment. Now, this comment was left to me by a larger creator, and I'm very grateful that she took the time to watch my video, and that would be Psychic Reverend Donna Serafina. And she goes on to speculate about the perpetrator by saying, about the sliding door versus front door. In a reading I uploaded 11/22/22, I stated he went in the house, up the right side of the house, and in the sliding door. And then after doing the murders, he went out the sliding door. But then he turned around and came back into the house, and then went down the stairs and out the front door. This would actually account for the later PCA that you're saying may have found evidence outside the sliding door, and also would account for the later witness testimony from the neighbors that from the front door was open. Both statements are true if my readings is accurate, which I believe it is. And just to be clear what we're talking about, this is one of the initial Fox News field journalists that were sent out to report on the 1122 King Road crime scene. And when she first arrived, she spoke with neighbors who did say that that door right over her shoulder was left open at 8:30 in the morning. I have the live broadcast archived. And here we have a cadaver dog looking for evidence on the high side of the house. We also saw that they collected a boot print along with a glove on the side of the house. We've seen investigators pointing in that direction. Now let's look at this before and after photo. This is going to demonstrate to you that something definitely was collected as far as evidence in the kitchen. So let me just break down these photos for you really quickly. Okay, so the photograph on the left was published on November 15th, 2022. And if you look at where the little yellow arrow is pointing, it's pointing towards something black that's on the counter that you can't see on the December 1st, the second published photo. Now I'm just going to get a little closer up and freeze on that so you can get a good look. It looks like maybe a coffee grinder or a can opener or something along those lines. Now if you look at this December 1st photo, you can see where it's circled. It's no longer there. And these photos also demonstrate how on November 15th, the table was perfectly clean, and then on December 1st, the table was littered with what allegedly was them moving things around to collect evidence. If I had to surmise why they had to move a piece of kitchen equipment like that onto the table to collect evidence or whatever they were doing, I would assume, and trigger warning, that there is blood spatter there. Or on another issue, possibly they were looking to see if a murder weapon had been taken. Maybe something was missing from that area. I don't know. What do you think? Drop it in the chat. And I want to bring up another speculation that one of my subscribers said, which is just like we don't know where Dylan ended up that morning, first floor or second floor, we don't necessarily know where BF was at the time of the incident. It doesn't say in the PCA, and there are lots of different scenarios. And my subscriber, Deb, also pointed out this small paragraph from an article in the Idaho Statesman, which was just published a couple days ago.
Again claimed no specific focus on a K-bar knife in the investigation. Our detectives were talking to various business owners during the course of the investigation, Snell told the Statesman at the time. My understanding was they were asking more generically about fixed-blade knives. Any reference to a K-bar knife by police in those discussions was used in a generic term, Snell added. A week into the investigation, temporary police spokesperson Rachel Doniger also incorrectly told the Statesman that each of the 2 surviving housemates lived on the first floor of the 3-story King Road house. The probable cause affidavit, released after Koberger's arrest, showed only one of the 2 lived on the first floor, and the other on the second. The second-floor housemate awoke at the time of the killings and saw a masked man in the house, according to the affidavit. Later, in the investigation's 4th week, Moscow police requested the public's help to identify the driver of a white Hyundai Elantra from the years 2011 to 2013 seen near the King Road house around the time the victims were killed. Koberger drove a 2015 white Elantra, and Fry's department never updated its request for tips from the public with the model years 2014 to 2016, even though an FBI analyst had later revised his assessment of the vehicle in question. Citing a judge's ongoing gag order in the case, which still applies to Fry as an agent of the prosecution, he declined to address those specific issues from the investigation. That stuff will come out later on, Fry said.
And since those initial statements to the press, we still have not received any clarification, going on 2 years now. And I'd just like to know what you think in the chat. What are your opinions? What are you surmising from what we've seen? Let me know. And I can definitely see a scenario where this might come into play. And we do a lot of speculating because the PCA just talks about their respective rooms, sleeping or residing. So it does not give clarification as to each location of each person. And the speculation is Maddie and Kaylee were in the same room. But the facts are is we just don't know, and we can also assume that BF might have been in a different location than the first floor too.
So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your viewership. If you consider liking this video, it helps me more than you know as a creator, and I would love for you to subscribe. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.